almost missed the seat. This is Miss Turquoise Girl, and she is, which way do you want to see it, huh? She is an F1B mini Bernedoodle from Harriet and Griswold. She's now 5.5 months old, and she weighs almost 11 pounds. And we're expecting her adult weight to be around 25 when she's fully matured, about a year old. She is a Merle party, so she is mostly, her coat is mostly all white, but then she does have gray merling throughout. So you can see from her back here. On both of her ears, she's got a little patch hair on her head, which when her hair gets cut down short, you'll start to see some of these spots come through really good. She is a cuddler. This girl absolutely loves to be able to just be with people and just snuggle up. Let's turn front, babe. You can see, I love her markings on her face, or she's got the merling around one eye, but not the other. And then, let's turn around here so we can see. She's got a little patch just right here on her back as well. Her coat is like a cotton ball right now, but her coat's going to start to change a little bit. She is starting to lose some of that puppy coat, and in fact, I was just brushing her. I can feel a little on my face. And then when she does and her adult coat comes in, she's going to be wavy. You probably can't see it in the video right now, but I'm just looking at her coat right now, and she's already got some of that wave starting to come in. So her grooming needs are going to be about every 8 weeks with regular brushing, because she's got hair just like us, so without the brushing then she can get matted. And so just regular brushing, and she does really great with the grooming. She's the one that she stands for me the best on the grooming table. The others, sometimes I have to distract or take little breaks just because I always want it to be a good experience for them, and none of them fight me. They're all really good, but I don't want them to be afraid. But she just stands just like, okay, if this is what you want me to do, this is what we're doing. Yes. She has been the most interesting puppy that we have had so far, because all the puppies, they have access once they're big enough to be able to go outside into a big yard, and especially in the winter time, which, you know, these puppies were born in November, so by the time that they were going out, we were in the middle of winter, had tons of snow, so I don't ever like to encourage the puppies to do something that they're not ready to do on their own. We've got 2 flaps to go out through the doggy door, and I want them to know that they can go out and they can get back in, because I would not want anybody to get stuck outside, especially with those cold temperatures, or to get scared that they felt like they were trapped, couldn't get back in, or couldn't get out. So let everybody do it on their own. And of course, everybody started to, and the whole litter. Everybody was outside except for Miss Turquoise for about a month. She was completely content to be inside by herself. And so I actually did encourage her. Like, I would push her out only when I knew I was going to be there to make sure she could get back in, and it was a nice warm day. And when she went out, she ran all over. She was so excited. She loved it. But she would not. She'd poke her head out, but she would not push through to go by herself. But she always could get back in, which was really interesting. So I actually worked with her a little bit, and then she went out and acted like it was no big deal. But the same also with their nursery. They have a little about 1 foot wall that they can come over when I open up the gate. And of course, when they're little, I pick them up, but when they get older, it's another thing that I like them to learn how to do, because it's good for them to have barriers and for me to be able to see how they respond if they get frustrated, or if they stop and sit back and problem solve, and it helps me to be able to work with them. Well, same thing. Everybody else would come up over the wall, and she wouldn't whine and cry. She was just like, nope, I just don't feel like I can do it or don't need to do it. And of course, I'd pick her up and she'd be happy to be out. But it took her a while, and it's kind of more of a confidence thing with her. But also what I have discovered is she's just very content. So even if she sees others doing it, she's like, yeah, that's okay. She's very content in just who she is, and doesn't feel like she needs to go, and not that she doesn't enjoy exploring and checking out new things, but she's not as busy as a lot of her litter mates are, where they absolutely have to go and check it out. She's just very much like, I'm good, I'm happy. So she's going to be one of those puppies that is very rarely going to get into trouble, just because she's not as curious and looking for all of it. She really likes to be with her people, but she's not needy. She does really good with all of her cues. As she walks on a leash really well, she rides in the car well, and she knows all the basics: the sit and lay down, can sleep in a crate, or just be alone in one for a little while. And because of her, you know, being by herself so often in the nursery and being content with that, she's also one of our puppies that will be okay to be home alone by herself and be content to do that and not be worried about it or get any anxiety, which is something that most of our Bernedoodles, something they can do, but you definitely have to work with them on that, because they do want to be with their people so much. But this girl, it's like she just realizes it's okay, people go away and they come back, where it takes a lot of our puppies, they have to mature a lot more before they recognize that. So what else about you, huh? Oh, she, as far as her physical, she does have a little bit of an underbite, but it's not anything that, it's not extreme. It doesn't cause her any problems. And most of the time you don't even notice it. So it's not something that will be a problem for her going into a pet home. We wouldn't use her for breeding if that was the case, because we try not to pass those things on, but it's not an issue for her. And she's got a good clear health from our vet. She's also fully vaccinated, so she won't need anything until she's ready for her next shots when she's a year old. Should we go do a close-up of you, sweetie? Yeah. Oh, and she's also good other dogs. She would do good in homes with all different ages, because she is pretty calm. Yes. And likes to sit back and watch. So really, she's going to do great. If she's just not, she needs some encouragement, but not necessarily force. There's that balance in there, right? Where I find if I encourage her to do things and help her build her confidence with that, then she goes and does it. If I do it for her, then she doesn't build the confidence. And if I try to force her, then again, that's not her necessarily building the confidence, but it's just giving her that little bit of a push to be able to know, oh, I did that and everything worked out good and I like it. Because I think that's just it. She doesn't realize, oh, I actually liked doing that. Let's go do a close-up real quick. Oh, and you'll see, so she does get tear staining. You can see kind of the marks and the corners of her eyes here, which is interesting because her sister, Miss Yellow Girl, doesn't get it. So it's something with the proteins in their bodies that will do that. So there are some just special vitamins that we haven't done it, so I'm not even sure if they're daily or weekly, but that you can give her those, and I think it has an enzyme in there that just helps, so that if you're worried about it, then the tear staining won't show up, or she won't get it. Look, oh, your hair is very fluffy, huh? That is our Miss Turquoise girl.